Is no a dirty word when it comes to step parenting? I really need to know. Because for some reason, you guys tend to act like a step parent just can't simply say no. Like if they use the word no, they cursed at your child. So I need to know, is no a dirty word when it comes to step parenting? Hi guys. Welcome to another episode of Chaos to Calm. I'm your lovely host, Sandy Davis. And let's dive right into it. Thank you guys for joining me today. As you all know, wait a minute, let me take a drink. Because this episode is going to really stress me out, cause me a lot of anxiety, I think. So let's get started. As you guys know, I like to start off each episode with a positive story, a scripture maybe, or just a positive quote or something. So today, this story comes from Detroit, Michigan. Woo woo, Detroit, all my Detroiters. I'm a D girl, born and raised. Okay, but this story comes from Detroit, Michigan. So it was a young man that went and did a video on live. I guess he did live video on Facebook, and it went viral. He happened to be traveling the morning, a couple mornings ago, and he noticed a little girl walking down the street with no shoes on, no hat, no gloves, just cold, looking confused, didn't know what she was doing, where she was going. So he decided to stop and help her. And in his video, he said, instead of putting her in my car, I decided to walk with her. He probably trying to walk her home, see where she's trying to go, get her safe to her parents. And in the video he made, he was just like almost in tears, like crying, because he's like, how do people have kids to treat them like this? And it's like the baby was 6 years old, and come to find out she was walking to school by herself at 6 years old. So what happened most likely is that the child wanted to go to school, and the mom was probably in there asleep. She decides, I'm gonna put my coat on. A child not knowing, put the shoes on, gloves, if she even had that stuff, and walk to school. And the parent is nowhere to be found. So when they do find the parent, they lock the parent up, of course, which well deserved. But the guy ended up getting her safe to school. The school did confirm that she goes there, and he ended up getting her safe. But that story could have ended so much different, so very different, I should say. It could have been a man that wanted to do something different with that little girl. Predators out here, rapists. It's all type of things I can't say on this platform, but you guys get what I'm saying. So I'm so happy that, thank God, that this guy was able to help her, and he was a genuinely good person. We don't have that a lot in this world today, and I love that. And she ended up making it to school safe, and they ended up getting her some help. The parents were taken to jail. Sometimes it's what you deserve. So it just makes you think about the people who can't have kids, who you think is deserving, versus the ones who do have kids and can have them without a problem and are less deserving. Something to think about. So let's dive into our discussion. Okay. This discussion is basically another discussion about co-parenting / step parenting. So this one comes from someone sent me this on Facebook, and they wanted me to read this story. They thought it would be a good topic for us to discuss. Okay. And always make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. First of all, subscribe. Let's do subscribe first. So go down there. Look at that button right there. It's right there. It says subscribe. Subscribe. And then I want you guys to like it. And then I want you to comment. And then I want you to share the video. Now, you might come on here and say, this is not for me. But what does a like, a share, that doesn't harm you? Someone else might see it and say, oh, this is for me. You know, help a sister out. Okay. Now, back to the topic. So, someone sent me this on Facebook, and let's go to it because I want to read it to you guys. It says, my boyfriend's daughter called me and asked me, can she stay for the whole Christmas break? I told her no, because it's enough room. No, wait a minute, because it's not enough room. Nowhere for her to sleep, and we don't have enough food to feed another person. She said, I can't sleep on the bottom of Yaya's bed. My daughter, that's what she put in parentheses. It says, since she has a daybed attached to it. I told her no, and plus my daughter likes her room to herself. I told her she can come visit for the day, but her dad would have to leave her back home after that. Have to take her back home after. Tell me why this little girl snaps. She yells and says, I don't even know why my dad is with you. And then hung up in my face. Okay? It says, so tell me. So I tell her dad what happened, expecting him to at least check the disrespect. This man gonna say, she did right, you being selfish, and you treating my daughter like an outsider. Okay? Then she says, I just looked at him like was crazy and said, I just looked at him like he was crazy and said, so your child can disrespect grown people and think she can set the rules in my house now? Okay. So she says, he looks at me and says, if she can't stay, maybe I shouldn't either. And then she put ATP, I think, at this point. Okay, so, y'all know I'm old. I'm not trying to be cool, but I think at this point, somebody told me that earlier. At this point. I think that's what she said. At this point, pack your bags, baby, because the circus is clearly missing 2 clowns. Okay? So I want to go into the comments. Some of the comments were saying that this was fake and it was for clickbait. Although it might be a fake story, don't get me wrong. I think that it's a good story to cover, however, because this happens all the time. Okay? So, and it's happening with a lot of families today. I'm sorry, my light is going dim and I thought I just charged it. But anyway, so it's a good topic, even if it is fake. Okay? I don't care if the story is fake or whatever, but we're going to break that down. That's why I think a lot of stuff was put in there intentionally, because it was a fake story and to make you think. So it says, you're the clown. These are the comments that some people decided to comment. And this is what made me want to talk about this, because of the comments that I read myself. It says, you're the clown the circus is missing. And then it says, you shouldn't be allowing a man to shack up at your home if y'all aren't married. Also, if you're with somebody who has kids, you obviously knew before the shacking up even happened. I'm sure you expected him to accept your kids, so it should be no problem for you to accept his. Okay? And then another one says, I'm sorry, I'm all smacking, I don't know why. It wasn't enough room at grandma's house, but we all slept on the floor and made it work. That will sink in later. And it says, I promise you, you're the only clown in this situation. And this is the last one. It says, he did right. If his daughter is not welcome, then neither is he. What if it was your child? That's the last one I wanted to read. So, let's break this down, y'all. So, first and foremost, this is I can't even say step parent because this is his girlfriend. She said boyfriend. They're boyfriend and girlfriends.